In this video of my Indiana Jones MOC of the Venice Library, we're going to make a ton more progress by finishing the tiling, adding tons of details, and opening a few bricklink orders. Make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video to get a sneak peek of what's coming in the next update, but for now, let's jump into today's progress. I decided that we're not going to go with the sand green flooring option. That would have been cool, but we're just going to go with dark tan. I think that will still look pretty good. And man, this is going to be so satisfying when all these tiles are on here, because it is just perfectly flush there. And the X here in the middle will be the same as well. So we're going with dark tan, and then for the walls, I decided we are going to try doing tan instead of gray. So I've already ordered some parts, and they're on the way. And I will be able to start replacing some of these pillars and like that slope right there. And then I also started working on this window back here just to get a little bit of an idea of how I'm going to do that. And of course, this will be orange, and then we'll have some sloped pieces at the top. But I think it's going to look just something similar to that. And then for the lions, I have these old pieces, which seemed a little bit too... I don't know what the word is. I don't know, realistic is the right word, but maybe too detailed or something. And I usually prefer to do brick-built versions of things, but I think these are actually kind of cool, and they're such old pieces. They're kind of unique to see, and they are in tan, which is the color I'm going with. So I think I'm just going to try using these, and I kind of tried to put together a little bit of the design I'm going with. Of course, it's not like a full lion, it's just like its face and the front paws kind of is the idea, but I'm gonna go with these for the lion decorations, and I think that's actually gonna be kind of a interesting detail, especially since it's not like just using the piece on its own. I'm adding some other shape and decoration to it as well. So of course we have to get the tan colored pieces so it all matches, but that's generally the shape that we're going to be looking at for all four of these lines that go at the top of these pillars. I've been playing around with a design for the spiral staircase, and this is what I think we're going to go with. Just using candlestick pieces with the 1x1 round studs with the hole, and then these little, like, I don't know what those are called, hose pieces. And those, I don't know, it looks pretty good, I think. And using these modified tiles or plates in the middle, it is really flimsy. So I have to be really careful with that. But it looks good, so I might just sacrifice stability for design, and then at the top just having two posts here, and then this will connect to like the balcony area. So I'm thinking this will go maybe kind of around here ish, something like that is where I'm thinking this will go. I obviously don't really have like any of the parts in black, which it will all be in black. So I'll have to get those, but I think this looks really good. I'm very happy with how that looks. There's just something so satisfying about having a like solid, firm base. So this feels good. Everything's leveled off, and it'll be a lot easier to tile and then just work with. I left these bricks here on each side because that's where I just need a 1x2 masonry, which is coming in the mail. So I just wanted to have those accessible and have those as little reminders that I need to fix those. Now we have the solid base. I left this tan along the back because I think that's kind of where the wall will stop, and this is going to be floor. So I think that's just going to be from the outside, like from the viewing of the side. I think that will look a lot better to just have a nice clean cut instead of having the gray continue with tan brick on top and below. So I think this was the way to go. At this point, I'm just going through and laying out where the wall is going to be. These are where the pillars should attach. I believe those are in the correct spot. We'll find out when we actually start putting them in. But this is just nice because now I'll know everywhere that I need to tile. So I'm like, this is where I think the bookshelves are going to be. Generally, I still don't know how I'm going to build those. I don't know the technique I'm going to use. I don't know if they're going to be snot or just like built up from the ground. So that's a little bit iffy. And then this is where I'm thinking of attaching the spiral staircase. But this is just going to make tiling everything so much easier and more satisfying. Let's make sure we have everything else kind of laid out first before we start tiling this thing off. So here's everything I got. Lots of tan stuff. Some of the most fun things, I'll point out, got these line heads, which are pretty fun. This is just a minifigure head that I thought could use for the librarian. These are the pieces I was thinking of for the window, so I'm hoping those work. Got some hair pieces that I've been needing for some other things, just because I saw the shop had them. Some jumpers, some dark tan arches, black tiles, which are just I need for the borders of some of my MOCs. Not the Indiana Jones one necessarily, but some of my other ones. These tiles are for some of the Lord of the Rings MOCs. Lots of these telescopes in brown and gold. A whole bunch of cheese slopes, some more cheese slopes there, some smaller tiles, lots of 1x1s, these which are for the pillars. Some of these rounded pieces, these tiles, these are also for the stained glass windows. And then I got these masonry, which I just needed for the border. And I guess a lot of this stuff is for the tiling, and some of these pieces are for the X that will go in the middle. But super fun. I love getting these orders. It's like Christmas basically. So this will be fun to go ahead and start adding this stuff and making the Indiana Jones MOC look a little bit more complete. And now after finally getting these masonry bricks in place, it's time for some satisfying tiling. Now that we have this tiled off, it's a little bit easier to see what this thing is going to be looking like now that we can get rid of all those colors. I know there's still a little bit of colorfulness here, but we can cover that up and pretend. But yeah, it's gonna be these colors and tans and then brown bookshelves. That's not gonna be white, but that's where the stairs are gonna be. And now we can start just working on these walls and the bookshelves and getting those in place. And you can see just how satisfying this is with the flush sideways snot pieces and the tiles. It just lines up perfectly, and it's so satisfying how smooth that is. If I ever find myself regretting the color choice of going with dark tan instead of sand green, it would be so easy to just swap out the tiles for the new color and be done immediately. And now we're just gonna jump to the back wall to make sure we get some progress there too. And now it's finally time to start working on the big stained glass window in the back. We're just going to be using a handful of small pieces, 1x1s and 1x2 plates, as well as some 1x1 bricks, and just putting them together in different formations to get some of the different colors. And in the end, I think this thing is going to look really cool. I'm going with mostly reds, oranges, and yellows for a couple reasons. One, because the film, it actually kind of looks similar to those colors, but the main reason is honestly just because that's mostly what I had. So I didn't really want to order a bunch of new parts, so I'm just using what I had and making something that sort of resembles what it looked like in the movie. And so we're just gonna piece this whole thing together with all these little segments and see what the whole thing looks like once it's all finally together. We've got the walls built up about 4 or 5 bricks here, and then we have the pedestals for the pillars in and the stained glass windows. Now, sadly, I realize that this arch does not fit this slope, which was a bummer because I was hoping to use these. So now I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do. I might try pushing this window back and the arch forward and a little lower so it just covers it. That's a possibility. But then I did find that this arch does fit it. So maybe I need to switch arches. But I don't think I have that in dark tan, so maybe I need to make this brown. That's kind of the thought process that's going with this, is just how am I gonna make this arch seamless? And unfortunately, dark tan of these is probably ideal, but I just don't have them. It's about time we finally get some minifigures, so here's our Elsa Schneider, our librarian with the mid-legs, and he's got his little stamp and white hair there. And this is how we're doing Indy. He has his gray suit for this scene. And now let's go ahead and just build up some of the lion head statues. Here's how this thing is looking now with the layout. You can kind of see a little bit better. The walls are built up more. I added that little detail on the back wall just because it was looking a little plain, and the pillars just finally framing the window, and it's all looking so good. I definitely am thinking tan was the right way to go with this thing. In the next video, we're going to be working on the bookshelves and finally start the second level balcony, so make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on to be notified when that video goes live. And in the meantime, here are some of my other MOCs that I thought you might enjoy. Thanks for liking and watching, and I'll see you in the next video.